Let's hit the dance floor. Don't work too hard, my break a backbone.
Welcome back to Retired Chaos. If you are watching the video version of this, I'm trying not to squeak in this office chair that I'm sitting in currently in my new environment, in my new home, I guess you could call it. I will update you guys in just a second, but I am no longer living in Chicago. Real quick, if you are new here, hi. My name is Mariana. I'm the host of this podcast. This podcast is really intended to help with general wellness, right? I am retiring chaos. The whole thing is dedicated to retiring chaos in the humorous way. So we're going to have fun with it, but I'm also going to bring you tips and tricks and things that I've learned through my 29 years of life. Okay, let's get back into the update. I am not living in Chicago anymore. I up and left. I didn't even tell really anybody. I just kind of quickly made this decision with my boyfriend, and it was a hard decision. Like it was a game time decision. We didn't even make this decision until his family came into town for Thanksgiving, and they basically helped us move. It was crazy. The reason that we decided to leave Chicago, Davis was living there almost 3 years, and I had been living there for 4.5 years. And we're at our apartment for 2 years together. It was amazing. It was our first apartment together, and I think that's why I had so much attachment to it. But for the next 6 months, we are traveling a lot. Like I leave tomorrow from Pittsburgh to Dallas, and then I'm going to Mexico for like 2 weeks. And that's just one out of, I think it's like 7 trips that we have planned, that we just, between weddings and just things that we already had pre-planned, it didn't make sense to continue to pay rent. Our lease was up, and we were like, if we're only going to be in this apartment for a total of a month and a half out of the 6-7 months that we're going to be traveling, does it make sense to pay rent? The answer was no. We really, really want to buy a house. I really want to buy a house with land. That's a little bit more expensive. So we were like, let's go home. Let's hang out with friends and family. Let's save, and let's jumpstart the next step in our life. So that is an update, which by the way, I'm having a great time in Pittsburgh. My boyfriend's parents just bought a hot tub. I'm like, you guys are really making it quite difficult for me to leave. So I've been hanging out in there almost every night. They have a Peloton, they have a gym. I mean, I am set up here. I'm still trying to figure out the whole podcast and where I'm going to set this up, but whatever. So that's my update. I am so excited for today's episode because this is a topic that I often find myself talking to my friends and other women through them making comments or asking me questions around this topic. And it is the topic of how to be confident, especially when you can confidently say that you are not confident. I get asked this a lot. Like, how are you so confident? How are you able to do things with ease? Like, you literally don't care, blah, 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 blah. I get this all the time. This is a skill to be confident, especially when you're going through difficult seasons or you find yourself spiraling in this like internal self-doubt. It's a skill to do things and push past your internal reality and like do things anyways. How to move confidently, how to gaslight yourself to being confident, all the things. I got you because hello, I do this all the time. I am not confident at all. In fact, I feel like I am less confident more times than I actually am confident. A lot of my confidence, I would consider it to be an illusion. I am insecure a lot. Like, let's go ahead and dive in, okay? Let's begin with listing my flaws. I am just going to go ahead and go down the list of some of the top things that I can just think about. Number 1, if you turned this camera around and you saw what I'm living in right now, you would see that it's very clear that Mariana is a tornado. My boyfriend sometimes is like, hi, hello. You have like this trickle trail of yourself around the house. Like, I can be a walking tornado. Okay, I literally cry so much. Like, I'm a very sensitive person. And if you're not a close friend of mine, like, you would not know that. You know, I do care. I do care about what other people think of me. I want people to like me. It hurts when I realize that I am not everyone's cup of tea. And even though I fundamentally understand that that's humanly impossible, I feel like I adjust to a lot of different personalities, and my personalities can be overbearing and can be big. And so I might not be everybody else's cup of tea like I feel like everybody else is. And that can make me feel really insecure. I have failed God knows how many times. I have been fired from jobs. I have gone to jail. We'll save that for a rainy day. I mean, I literally started a YouTube at 28 years old, living at a time when apparently modern day society tells you that you're nothing past your 20s. Like, that you will age and you will be ugly and you'll be unimportant in your 30s. And if you're not married and have children, well, you're done. You've peaked. And newsflash, I have neither of those things. I have a dog, and he is my biological son. So when people tell me that I am super confident and ask me like how I do it, it's always a bit of a shocker to me. So I finally said, you know what? I'm going to expose myself. I am going to expose the things that I do to help me be confident, because this is the shit that people need to hear. So let's get into it. Classes in session. Let's start with embarrassment, because embarrassment is the yin of confidence. I personally, in my very humble opinion, I feel like embarrassment is an illusion. I mean, it is part of the simulation. Truly, whether you try to go your entire life trying to avoid embarrassment, you will be embarrassed at some point in your life. And a little secret, embarrassment is made up. Embarrassment is only real if you let it be real. Technically, like if you think about what embarrassment is, it's the assumption about someone else's assumptions about you. Like, it is the anticipation of being negatively perceived by others, and that is a direct definition on Google. It's just not real. And even if you were right about that assumption, the reality is that judgment lasts like a total of 0.0001%, and it's mostly coming from like a stranger that you don't even know, that doesn't really even care about you, that you'll probably never see again in your life. They probably won't remember you on their deathbed, like not even a month from now. It's completely made up. Oh, you hear that? I hope that this mic is not feeding into the creaks of this chair right now. Here's an example of embarrassment that I recently experienced. I uploaded a YouTube video. I worked really hard on it. I was super proud. I still am proud. Okay, I go back to my little vlog. I'm like, cute. It has like a whole 40 views on it. I don't know. It probably has a little bit more now since I checked. But objectively, one of the most humiliating things that you can do is flop on the internet, especially like in today's world, and everybody having access to it over and over and over again. Filming yourself, pressing upload, and having the fear of looking stupid just to have confirmation through lack of social validation is one of the most humiliating, cringiest things that could possibly happen, at least to me. And when that happened, when I checked and I saw that, and I was like looking at my metrics to see like how long people were actually staying on my video, I thought, okay, should I stop this right now? Like, I'm cringing. Should I stop this right now? Should I spiral the next hour or two, verbally abusing myself that I can't do this and that I'm not good enough, and just curl up into a ball and fuck right off? Should I? And I did think about this, and I had to slow down. I had to be like, okay, slow down, bitch. Let's chit chat. What's the alternative? Embarrass myself over strangers having fleeting thoughts about me, which, may I remind you, again, a whole microsecond of their day. Or could I continue to do something that I enjoy and I love? Continue to do something that I'm passionate about, that I put a lot of effort in? The answer is easy when you break it down, right? Embarrassment turns into No fucks given whatsoever. Just given to how silly the alternative sounds. Being embarrassed at the end of the day has zero consequence at all. Holding yourself back for a career change, a passion, a business, or anything that you want to do in your life due to embarrassment has consequences. And I know it's a cliche to say like life is short and we're all gonna die, but it's a fact. Life is short, we're all gonna die. And I promise you, whatever stranger that has ever judged you or will judge you in the future, when they get to their deathbed, will they be thinking about you? And that one time that they were surfing YouTube and they found that silly little girl with that 40 views on their page and thought, oh my gosh, I'm literally dying right now, but how fucking embarrassing must that have been for that girl? The reality is it's just not going to happen. The reality is that you're just not that important to those people. You're really only important to the close people that you have in your life, your friends and family, and they would not be judging you. They would be supporting you. And if they are, get better friends, period. Just get better friends. Cut them off. Enough is enough. Drop them. Get better friends and family. This will work for just about anything. Career change? Yeah. Trying a passion out? Yeah. Asking that girl or guy out? Yeah. I mean, like literally anything. Please do not stop yourself over a stranger's fleeting thought. Embarrassment. Number 2, you will be misunderstood. Period. You will. Even if you were to do everything quote unquote right, you will be misunderstood by your friends, by your families, by coworkers, by random trolls on the internet, strangers. You will. Because not everyone is like you or thinks like you or, you know, has the same perceptions as you. And quite honestly, everybody to a certain extent has their own damn issues and oftentimes can project things onto you. So you will simply be misunderstood at some point in your journey. And at that point, when you're experiencing being misunderstood, don't even waste your time trying to prove anything out to anybody beside yourself. You will be miserable trying to convince somebody your point, your side, your message, your reasoning behind why you're doing something. And here's something that I have recently learned within the last year due to therapy. Thanks, Beth. Love you, Beth. I'll call you soon. I know we haven't talked in a while. I'm going to call you soon. Is number 1, sometimes people don't have the capability of receiving your message and genuinely understanding what you're doing. Like they cannot physically, mentally grasp it. They're not capable. And 2, if they are capable, the chances are that they just don't want to. They don't want to understand. They don't care. They don't want to see your side. So why even waste your time on them? Again, I think that confidence comes from the promises that you keep to yourself. It comes from constantly showing up for yourself. It's like the reputation that you build internally within yourself. If everyone around you thought that you were God's gift from the heavens above, everyone around you, and gave you praise and gave you everything that you could ever want, but you yourself did not feel that way, you yourself felt like a fraud, no matter what, it will be slowly a fleeing feeling and you will still find you're lacking in confidence anyways. Listen, it's always going to suck no matter what you say when people don't understand. It feels shitty. And that's okay. And we keep it moving for ourselves because if you believe in it, you're showing up for yourself consistently, fuck them. Truly, fuck them. You do not have time. Keep it moving. I do genuinely feel that time is your biggest asset. Don't waste it. Please, I'm begging you. Number 3. Oof, this one is fun. It may be a little psychotic. Maybe it gives you a little bit of insight of who I am and can be sometimes, but it is the act of disassociating your mind from your body. This is a killer. Now, use this skill wisely. To disassociate your mind from your body is a method that is commonly used in trauma therapy, or like just to help heal through like painful memories. And basically it's when your body disconnects from your emotions and your thoughts. The experience that your mind is having doesn't have to be the experience that your body is having, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. What does this have to do with confidence? I'm so glad you asked. Of course, I'll tell you. Well, if you're scared to do something and you're like, I can't start until this happens. I can't walk into the gym until I look like this. I'm not ready until X, Y, and Z. Basically, all of the things that I was saying to myself before restarting my podcast. The reality is that you don't have to have the confidence to do something. Like, you can still physically do it. For example, when I jumped out of a plane in Hawaii around I think it was 5 years ago now, I didn't want to fucking do it either. I mean, I was scared to do it, you know. I wanted to. It was on my bucket list. I was like, if I'm going to jump out of a plane and potentially die, I'm going to die in the most beautiful place, Hawaii. So I pay all this money and I'm researching it. This is about a week before I'm going to Hawaii. And I'm just researching it, right? Because the closer I get to it, the closer I have these tingly sensations of oh, I'm about to jump out of a plane. What does this plane look like? What's the process? Yada, yada, yada. So I start, Googling and I'm researching the company that I just paid a shit ton of money to. And I come across this article about this horrible, horrible accident that happened 3 years prior to me going to Hawaii with the same fucking company. And it was because they had a malfunctioning plane and everybody on that plane tragically passed. Yup. You guessed it. I still jumped out of that fucking plane. Now, was it because somebody physically pushed me? Maybe. But I still did it. Even if I was really scared, my body physically was still able to jump out. That is what essentially disassociating your mind from your body is. Sure, I did not have the confidence to start my YouTube or my podcast because I was a nobody, right? Who wants to hear what a nobody has to say with no followers, no anything, no nothing, right? But I still had a little bit of money in my bank account. I still had the internet to kind of research how to get started. I still had a curiosity of, podcasting and YouTube and being creative. So I bought a mic. Then I plugged it into my computer and then I picked up GarageBand. I figured out how to use it and then I hopped on the mic and just started talking because I couldn't physically do that. And my mind the entire time was shit. Am I good enough for this? How am I going to deliver? Is this even going to be entertaining? What are people going to say about me? Are people going to laugh at me? Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, probably. But I'm still physically doing it because I can physically do it. And it's not the same experience to physically do something and then go through it in your mind. Oh my God. Here's another one. Here's another one that actually worked out, which was great. Me and my boyfriend's relationship. Okay. Yes, a lot of people can probably say, oh, the man should pursue. I'm pretty sure I pursued first. I definitely slid into the DMs and was like, hey, that's a funny story. If you guys want to hear it, let me know. But I did fear rejection. When I came to Pittsburgh the first time, I originally was just staying for a weekend. I feared rejection when I asked my boyfriend if I could keep pushing my flight back because I wasn't done hanging out with him. And guess what? Now we have an amazing relationship. His family and I are very close. We have a beautiful golden doodle. He makes me drinks. He makes me food. He rubs my back and it's amazing. I would have never known how great this relationship would have been if I didn't just step out of my comfort zone, kind of ignore fear, kind of ignore rejection and go for it. We could have just dated for a little bit and been like, see ya. But I kind of forced my way in. Just kidding. I didn't force my way in, but I definitely was a little aggressive with my advancements. Anyways, we can move on from that. You have to physically be able to take that micro step. Write the email. Call that person. Purchase that first equipment for your business. Press upload and close your eyes and be like, okay, bye. I'm not going to check this again. Fuck it. You don't have to have the confidence while you're doing that. Take that step, even if you're scared. And this leads me to my last and final tip. Fear. I get scared a lot. I think that we should all lean into fear. Fear is helpful in a lot of ways if you use it to your advantage. Fear is simply just an alert to like your mind and body, right? It's like having self-doubt is a fear, which allows you to not make like emotional decisions, maybe take a step back and think logically. Fear is a natural feeling. It's a sign that you're a fucking human. If you didn't have fear, I would be real scared that you're like some sort of robot, which in today's world, I don't really know who is real and who's not on the internet. Someone could be doing like a morning routine and I'm like, oh my God, like, God, she's beautiful. Look at her fucking skin. And it's an AI robot. Fear is a natural feeling. You're not a robot. You're not perfect. You're not Barbie. You are human. And I think fear is knowing who you are. Like fear is helping you learn yourself. If you really think about it, I have a fear of disappointing people, fear of disappointing friends and family. I don't think the goal is to fully eliminate fear because it is useful, but it's more, like I said, a way to get to know yourself. Fear is, okay, what am I willing to do and what am I not willing to do? Like how much level of fear do I have towards this one thing? And is it going to stop me from doing something or not, right? And if it's like an extreme level of fear where you're like, I'm not fucking doing that ever, right? Would I jump out of a plane again? No, I don't actually. Yeah, that was a really bad example. I would, right? If you asked my sister if she would jump out of a plane, she would be like, fuck no, that is the worst. Like, absolutely not. I will never do that. You know, because her level of fear is way high to the point where like, this is how she protects herself, period. So I just think it's like a level base where you can just kind of measure that and get to know yourself that way if you lean into it. Are you afraid of not getting that job, for example, or not having a successful business? What is the level of fear that you can associate to that action or to that goal or to that want? And if you are able to lean into that fear, then great. Like this is something that you can go ahead and jump into. But if you don't, then you'll never know what actually will happen if you try and get that job or you try and start that business or you post that video online. You might get that job. You might be successful. You might go viral. You might find that your passion can be turned into a business. Like you might. I personally would rather lean into fear, do it anyways. And if it doesn't work out, be like, well, at least I know what the outcome was versus not. Like I won't ever have to wonder what if. The other piece about fear and what I've learned this year, truly this year, more than anything, is that you go through something and you're fearful and then something happens and maybe you're not successful at it and now you know the feeling. And regardless of if you're jumping into something through fear and like leaning into fear, at the end of the day, you're always going to learn something from trying something and it not working out or failing or maybe like really being successful. You're always going to take away something good from it and learn. And it's just going to make you stronger. Like, again, I know that sounds super cliche, but it truly does. Like anything that you are able to survive will make you stronger. No doubt. Look, I'm not even going to lie to you. It could suck. It could hurt. For real. But you'll survive. I guess we can go ahead and close it out and kind of just give it like a full circle moment of, I feel like how I've been able to like be confident is just, guys, I've just hit rock bottom multiple times in my life. Like genuinely multiple times in my life. I could give you the craziest stories. You'd be like, what the fuck, bitch? I've lost people that I really, really love. I've lost friendships. Specifically, I've lost jobs. Oh my God, I've lost jobs that I adored and worked so hard for. I've lost time. I've lost myself. And, you know, in the past, I've lost time because I didn't take these losses or these failures as like an opportunity to really take a step back and like reevaluate the situation. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing about it is like when you hit rock bottom, You can't get any lower. Like, you're there. Like, you can't dig yourself. Like, it's concrete. You're done. Like, you're there. You're in hell. I'm just kidding. But literally, these are the moments where you just sit with yourself and feel that shit hard. But you also got to see it through, my guy. You got to see it through. I love that video. I need to bring it back up. I need to watch it after this. You got to see it through, my guy. You got to see it through. Think about all of these things, like embarrassment, disassociating yourself, leaning into fear, like knowing that you're just going to be misunderstood, like really going through this. Think about it when you are working towards something and you're like, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to achieve this, I want to do this and that. And especially remember, like, if you're in the middle of that path and it, for whatever reason, gets taken away from you, opportunity to just say, oh, fuck. All right, let me take a step back here. Who am I? What are my values? What do I stand for? Most importantly, what am I willing to suffer for? And what am I not willing to suffer for? All of the things that I've mentioned above, I think will not only help you feel confident, but the best part is it'll help you feel free. Like, just free with yourself to be whoever you want to be truly, to do whatever the fuck you want in this life, if you really want to do it that badly. Because think about it, you can pretend to be somebody else, or you can pretend to like something, or you can pretend, you can go through your entire life pretending. You'll still get rejected. You'll still be embarrassed. You'll still be misunderstood. You'll still be experiencing loss. So you might as well do it with you being you the entire time. You might as well feel satisfied with, okay, I was me my entire time. It is so freeing to feel that way and to feel like, man, I am just so incredibly me through this process. How fucking freeing is that? How amazing. I love that. That's all I have for you, honestly. It was a quick one. I like to keep my podcast episodes super quick. My mind glazes over when the podcast is above, like the podcast episode is above 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, how much do you really have to say? So that is my goal, is to keep it under 30 minutes. If you got this far, thank you. I love you. I am so incredibly grateful for everybody that has been supporting me. Like, it's crazy how many messages I've gotten. And I really appreciate it. And I hope that this helps and this impacts you. Like I said, I've always said this, and I will say it every single time. If I can impact one person, I have done enough. That's crazy. Like, for me to be able to say, like, I've impacted one person by listening to my podcast, I am so grateful if I can do that. That's my goal. So I appreciate you guys getting this far. If you like this, leave a review. Hit me up on social media, talk shit to me, tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. Would love to hear it. I love feedback. I love growing. And follow me on Instagram. And of course, follow the podcast Instagram as well. It's Retired Chaos Podcast. And let me know what are the things you guys want to hear about. I'm a chit-chatty person. We'll get on here. We'll hop on the mic and we'll talk. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.
You feel alive, let's hit the dance floor. Don't work too hard, might break a backbone. Return of the Mac, the king is back though. Corvette and cash, I never lack those.